The year is 2013.
There is some level of economic uncertainty worldwide.
Global leaders still battle with the menace called corruption, but things are about to change. One event seeks to bring everyone from different sectors in the country together and create a mandate for every leader.
The Excellence in Leadership Conference 2013.
Eniola Ajayi.
Ajayi holds a master's degree in ocular pathology from the University of London. Upon graduation in 1986, she worked with the eye department of 445 Nigerian Air Force Hospital in Lagos before starting a private practice in 1997.
From December 24, 2010 to January 9, 2013, she served as the Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology in Ekiti State Government, where she was responsible for implementing the state's vision for education, science and technology, and was able to implement a lot of reforms and establish policies that have contributed to the improvement of education in the state.
She currently serves Ekiti State Government with innovations, vision and vigor as the Honorable Commissioner for Environment.
She is married with children.
She will be speaking on education. The topic, instilling sound values through education. Venue is Annex 1, Plot A3C, Ikosi Road.
The title of what we're talking about here today is instilling the right values through education. The beginning of everything is from God. Do you agree? Knowledge is the gathering of facts. Understanding is the proper alignment and aggregation of those facts. Wisdom is the proper dissemination of the facts. And education is the output of those chain of events. But somebody put it in a simpler manner for me, and I love that the most, because this is English. Education is what is left when we have stopped schooling, period. After you leave here today, whatever knowledge you take with you is education. Education is considered an inalienable right of every child. Even education is no longer a private matter or a national affair. It's an international responsibility. We owe it to ourselves and to generations unborn to get educated. Because there are so many education people here today. How many people are administrators of schools? Can I see your hand? Raise it with pride. You are raising generations that will change Nigeria for the better. I will say some things that you expect me to say. Education in a general sense is a form of learning where knowledge and skills get passed from one generation to the next under the guidance of people or a group of people. That's according to Wikipedia. Education is the process of learning. This is my own definition. That brings about enlightenment, emancipation, and economic development. An educated set of people will develop. They will ask questions. They will probe. And they will develop in the process. And when they develop intellectually, they will develop economically. The problem with Nigerian education is that there's a disconnect between the education we have in our schools and the society we live in. That's why in Ekiti we have so many professors, yet on the scale of federal allocation we are second to the last. Because we don't do enterprise as a people. Many times, there's so many things I want to do, I can't do there at the quality where I want to do it, simply because they are not available. What has the difference of having the highest number of professors in Ekiti made to our existence? Education should ordinarily translate to emancipation and economic development. Education is still largely misunderstood by many people. Not because they don't know the importance, because even the most primitive societies, they know the importance. But the trouble is, man is afraid of the kind of change that will occur in a man when he's educated, the kind of firepower that it will bring. And that's where some sectors of our society, they want to keep Nigerians subjugated so that they're not educated enough to demand their rights. This is the issue. There are different types of education. The formal one, where you go to school and you follow a curriculum and you graduate with a certain prescribed certificate. The informal one, which is the most critical, and what I look for in anyone I'm mentoring or raising, is that which we call informal education. How many halls are we having the syndicate sessions at? 3. Who taught you? Nigeria is within the top what of the oil-rich countries in the world. The top what? That's passive education. What is the color of Daystar Christian Center? Red and blue and white. Who told you the colors? Was there a sermon that was preached? Okay. So passive education, informal education is something that is a lifelong process. The other education is the non-formal one. It is not based on rigid curricula. It does not have to end with a certificate, but is something that makes a difference in the lives of those involved. One of such is adult education. The other one is early childhood. Julius Simi, when we send our children to, I said it with the Ekiti accent, it's jealous Simi. Ekiti ni mo te awa mo. Emi omo Ekiti le. I have to speak some Ekiti so you know where I'm coming from. So, this type of education is not formal, but is also very essential. But the problem of Nigerian education is actually, the bane of the problem starts with the curriculum that we have in Nigeria. What do I mean? We have vacillations on our curriculum policies. Today we will end secondary education in Form 5. Tomorrow it will be 6, 3, 3, 4. Now it's no longer even just 6, 3, 3, 4. They said it's now 1, 6, 3, 3, 4. Because another year before the primary school years have also been made compulsory with their education. I don't have a problem with the number of years. I don't even have a problem with 6334. If 6334 was achieving what it was meant to achieve. 6334 was implemented to do what you call streaming of students. So that by JS3, if you are not the type that can go on to do something more, then you will find another route to take to achieve the kind of education that will be beneficial to you. The other problem is the number of subjects we take. In Nigeria, a JS3 student does 15 subjects or more. What is the essence? Why separate literature from English? That's the problem. And then what's the scope? What's the scope of what we are teaching? Do we cover the syllabus and expect the children to pass? These are some of the issues with the Nigerian curriculum. The other thing is that we just introduce things without reason. It was just lucky for Nigeria that a humble person like myself had the privilege of being at the National Council on Education, I think in 2012, that I stopped a major move that would have cost us problems. Why? What am I talking about? They wanted to make computer science compulsory at WAEC level. So I said, I thank God for Ekiti that we're putting laptops on the tables of our students. But how do you make computer education compulsory for a nation where most of the students have never seen a computer? These are the kind of policies they make. And they made it such that we now have 5 subjects compulsory, which means that that child is limited to only 3 subjects. So once they fail one of the 3, which will form their combination, they have nowhere to go. I said to them, I'm a science student, and when I was in school, I did both science and social science. So I had the option of going the social science way or the science way. But I said, you cannot box our children into this corner. I have no problems with making trade subjects compulsory because I'm an advocate of that. But I have a problem with making subjects that we have no foundation for compulsory at WAEC level. And that was how we changed it. But this is how our policies get formulated without the input of anybody that matters. And I know that it took a lot before they could reason and reverse that particular policy. Then what's our language of instruction? The calamity with the Nigerian state is that we are instructed in English language and we do not know how to speak English. You don't agree with me? We don't. We don't know how to speak English. There are so many yesterdays, as I was still researching this message, I went and looked up the British colonies. There are many other countries that the British people colonized that are now self-sustaining, self-governing, and self-educating. They've learned to teach their students in their own language. The problem is we're lazy at writing physics in Yoruba. What are we going to call friction? The friction is that resistance between this my shoe and this floor. What do we call it in Yoruba? That's the problem. It's going to take a lot of work to change our biology textbooks to teach us ovulation in Yoruba. Kinamangpe, ovulation. That's the problem. So, corruption-free leadership in education. First, government must have the political will to do the reforms. Corruption comes in when we begin to maneuver and blackmail leadership to follow status quo. We must establish sound structures with sound legislative backing. In Chile, teachers' development needs assessment is a legislative process. We must determine as a nation the value we place on education. And remuneration of teachers must be based on productivity and creativity. The system should also recognize and reward diligence and innovations with tangible incentives. Our communities should hold the entire educational structure and systems accountable to its citizens. Then, there must be adequate funding to education. I will just quickly show you 3 slides. 1980s, when we started, the total budget to education, I can't see the pointer, can you see it? I'm trying to point to 5.8. In that year was 5.88. For a period of many years, look at 1993, the budget to education was 0.7% for an entire year. This will not make any sense to you if you don't understand that the UNESCO recommendation for any nation to advance is how many percent? 26%. So these are the issues with education. You can start different types of schools: science school, art school, music school, sports school. What do you need to start? This was included in what I needed to give you, so I'll just run through quickly. School identity. Identify what type of school do you want to have. What brand? Create a brand for it. You have to have a target audience. Are they going to be secondary, primary school children, or is it a university? Do a business plan and a strategic development plan for the first 5 years. Then get the space that you require or whatever structure you want to use. Specialize your own area of specialization. How will you be different from your neighbor? Sort out your targets in both capital and operational targets. School curriculum. Is it going to offer IGCSE, WAEC, and ECO? Or is it just going to be one curriculum? Is it going to be a single certificate earning school? Is it going to be OND or HND added to it? And so on and so forth. School resource persons. These are the most critical in the chain. Who are your teachers? Where are you going to get them? What kind of services are you hoping to provide? Will you have a school bus? Are you going to have school lunch? Are you going to develop your own uniform, or will they go and buy ready-made? These are the things you need to sort out. Then the most crucial, which is not the most important, is the funding. The reason I said this is many of you have not started anything because you're always afraid of the money that you need. What I want to say to you today, start small. Start in a model that you can handle. Chrisland Educational Organization started in the boys' quarters of Mama or Woshika at Ladipo Oluwole. Today they are thinking of a university. Start small. Don't be deterred. Samsung today is regarded as a big institution in South Korea. Next to government is Samsung. And because that country recognizes it, they have placed a lot of value on that particular company. Japanese advanced because they learned how to produce very streamlined, fuel-efficient vehicles. These are some of the things we need to understand that education can do for us. Education, enlightenment, direction, universality, culture, advancement, totality, inspiration, originality, nationhood. It starts with enlightenment, it brings about nationhood. Thank you for listening. It's the education that brought a small girl like this from secondary school to this stage where I'm at today.